We
Guys,
are
we
live.
are live. Get a few seconds here for people to click on. For those of you who watch afterwards, I'm here with my good friend Brad Grand. Is that how I should address you? Is Brad Grand?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So me and this guy have known each other for like 7 years. Um, we've done some work together in person. We've collaborated on some things. This dude has made some badass oils that he has sent to me to test out. We're definitely going to be talking about those tonight. And he's also into guns, which we have that in common. So, okay. Yeah, we got some people in the chat already. Schomburg, hello, brother. Travis Keenan, that's a good friend of mine. Connor Balsky, known you for a while. Charlie Ray, what's up, brother? Nina the Mystic, that's a sister
Hello,
to
Nina.
us. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming on. So, Brad, dude, we got so much shit to talk about on this live. Like I said, we've been collaborating together and working together for like 7 years. Like,
yeah,
I think you were like the first person to like get the deification course and actually perform that ritual successfully. At least the first person that I heard from, and you were definitely the first guy to do that ritual and get back to me. And he also did it for my brother whenever he was dying. And there were I called in every favor that I had.
There was a lot of people on that.
So all my friends, like including Joseph Nunn and yourself, and I went down there and performed it right in person. It was definitely a group effort, but he made like probably a 70% turnaround within 24 hours of all of us doing these rituals for him in the same 24-hour period. So yeah, man. Like first of all, I want to thank you for that. And I also used your healing oil. I actually smeared it on his body during that healing.
I didn't know that.
For a person.
Awesome.
And it worked. He is fully healthy again. He's fully recovered. He's put his weight back on. He's healthy and strong and enjoying life again. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to say that up front.
Yeah. So I ran into first time I ever heard of JS. I'm little story time here. So I worked for a prison system in Arizona, and I went through an issue, went through a demotion, and I got stuck outside watching this fence where there had been a breakout 10 years previous. And part of the contract was you had to have someone there watching it all the time. So the only thing we had to entertain ourselves in this tiny little shack that watches a stretch of fence was an AM radio in the shack. And that's where I hear JS for the first time. And you spoke. I felt like you were speaking to me that night. And I got home that morning. I started looking you up, trying to figure out what's this all about. And I hired you for a write. And it didn't go the way we thought it would, but in the long run, it worked out probably better than it would have if it would have gone my way. So it's a pretty awesome experience.
Magic's funny like that.
Oh, man.
Depending on what type of ritual you're doing and what you're asking for versus what you want. It's like you might be asking for one thing specific, but you're also asking for what's best for you whenever you might not necessarily be right about what that could be. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, whenever you do rituals for hire too, you do rituals for people, and, we're like the middlemen, we're like the middleman. And, someone books us for a ritual and we go to the entity of their choosing that they chose to have the ritual performed with. And we're asking for something. It might be specific, but we're also saying like we want this to be in their best interest. Well, we don't always know what's in our own best interest, So it's kind of like we're giving the sacrifice, making the petition for this person, and we're asking for what might be two different things, what they want versus what they're actually asking for. And then ultimately they get exactly what they need and want. It just does not come to them in the way that they thought that it would.
Oh, absolutely. And it took like 3 years to come full circle. And I think previously you told me it had taken 2 years was the longest you'd ever had somebody take results. But that being said, and and we're talking about love magic. I mean, straight up, like I had a woman that I was absolutely in love with forever, and I chose not to give up on that, and I held that tight for God, like almost 3 years
Yeah.
after the ritual was done, and it actually, it finally clicked with me. Hey, you know what? It's not going to happen. It's time to start moving on in life, and that's when doors started to open. And I found my girlfriend now that I've been with for a year and a half, and it's better than what I would have imagined. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what anybody who is interested in love magic, and I've done some love rituals for people for hire as well. I always tell them straight out, it's not what and it's what you told me. It's like, hey, we know what you want, but that may not be what's best for you, and that may not be what the spirits can deliver. But if keep in mind that the spirits have something better, and in my case, they did. They fully did.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, I really have the same situation on my end. All right, so I wasn't going to say what spell we did, but you already said it.
no, it's fine. Yeah, I'm cool with it. Yeah,
So yeah, I created that spell for myself in my own marriage that was in bad shape. Like, oh God, it's been almost 10 years ago now that I first created that spell. I did it for myself. Did it for myself and for my ex-wife at the time, when I should have got divorced right then and there. All right. But in the spirits that I was working with, like Belial, was like, get rid of this bitch. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. No. Like, that was the biggest mistake I ever made, is like telling him no and not listening to him. So instead, I did this love spell for my marriage in order to try to bring the fire and lust back into it and actually give me a reason to like not want to kill myself every day. And it worked. It did. It worked. Like, the next few years were pretty good after that. But what I did was I ended up prolonging the inevitable. So I've actually taken that spell off my website at this point,
oh,
because I've realized that the line between love, romantic love, and mental illness is very thin. Okay, and we're not thinking straight when we're emotionally involved in a situation like that where we're in love. And what I did was I prolonged a bad situation and put a band-aid on it for a period of time, a long period of time. And I did get what I asked for, but in the long run, I got fucked twice as hard as I would have been fucked, if I had just did what Belial told me to do in the first place. So now when I do love magic for people, it's at a special request. It's really the same type of ritual, only I no longer target specific people. All
I
right.
agree with
So
that.
so you can come to me and be like, hey, I want a girlfriend, or I want a boyfriend, or whatever the fuck you're into.
Whatever.
As long as it's not a kid, whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
And I'll do the ritual in the same fashion, only I leave it up to the spirit to pick a partner for you. And those are always the cases in the past that have turned out the best. All right. I've
I
done
agree with
love
that.
spells. Yeah, I've done love spells for people that ended up getting married to that person afterwards. And then years later, they're like miserable because they forced the situation. You shouldn't have to force love. It should happen naturally on its own. And if you're, it's like putting a fucking gun together, man. If you got to force it, then you're doing something wrong. Which we're
Yeah,
gonna do some show and tell here in a minute.
absolutely.
My this is my princess right here. We'll talk about her in a minute. I know you got one too to show off,
I
but
do.
yeah, I mean, when it comes to love, like, it shouldn't have to be forced. As far as I'm concerned, like, the best way to use love magic other than self love, because a lot of us hate ourselves. Like that's the important thing. That fucking corny saying, that cliche saying, like, if you can't love yourself, then how can anyone else? That's actually fucking true. All
There's
right.
something to that. Sure.
Yeah. So what the love magic that I do for people now at special request, it's custom tailored to put them in the right place at the right time in order to meet the right person for them. And we allow the spirit to choose a lover, a partner for them. And I guarantee you that you're going to be happier in the long run with whoever this love goddess,
No,
Astarte, that I work with. Whoever she picks for you is going to be a lifelong partner. All right.
and
Versus you're in love with the girl or guy across the street that won't give you the time of day. So you're going to seduce them with magic, and then they're going to fuck you and fuck you over and make you miserable for the rest of your life if and when you do actually marry them. So yeah, love magic
and
should be used for self love, and it should be used to facilitate meeting the right person for you.
absolutely. And the crazy thing about it is it was almost from the time that I said I give up, like it's not going to happen. She's clearly moved on. Come to find out, she ended up getting married to the dude she had been seeing, and that's fine. Like I say, completely cool. But like the dominoes fell, so I decide I'm done. And it's funny because I was actually dating somebody else at the time, but it was one of those where we were dating, but we weren't. I mean, like I liked her, I even loved her, but I wasn't like passionately in love with her. And so finally, like I decided I'm done with this other girl. I'll commit to the one that I'm dating. About that time, my current girlfriend is filing for divorce, and she's coming out of a 19-year loveless marriage. Um, and so about 4 months go. Well, actually, no, it's closer to like about 6 months go by, and the girl that I've been seeing, the one that I really wasn't all that into, all of a sudden she's just like, "Yeah, I'm out." And I was like, "All right, well, come to find out, I mean, she was literally clearing the deck so I could meet my current girlfriend, and it was like
Yep.
within a few weeks. I see your comment there about my oil. We'll definitely post a link in the comments for you for that.
Uh,
Um,
you
it
know, my
so
comment section isn't moving here. It says, Mike, sup? Hey, JS, I'm probably going to schedule a consultation in a couple of days since I never followed my deification right. A lot to talk about. All right, fuck yeah, I look forward to that. I don't know why my chat's not moving here. Sorry to cut you off there. You were saying you're seeing messages. I just want to make sure that we're not ignoring anybody here.
yeah,
Says, yo,
no,
what's up, JS? Have you worked with Lucifuge Rofacol before? Only once. I've only worked with Lucifuge one time. And it's funny you asked me that because I've actually been planning and meditating on doing it right with Lucifuge this week, actually. I'm getting ready to do that. But yeah, sorry,
yeah,
man. I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no. I actually say it worked out perfect. She got out of the way for me to meet this woman that I am like 100% in love, 100% dedicated to, and she's with me. And it's great too is that she accepts all this. She's more than happy with what I'm doing. There's no issues with it. Now she came, after 20 years of marriage, she had children, and they're all accepting of it. They're into it. They actually think it's kind of cool. They have their little nicknames for me and the things that I do, and that's great. So it just like I say, it couldn't have worked out better. And for me, a guy who really loves kids, and also a guy who couldn't have kids of his own, I had no problem meeting a single mom. It actually, it was great for me. So it worked out. But yeah, no, I'd encourage people, anybody into love magic, man, you've really got to be open to what the spirits had to offer. If you're closed minded, like I was for 3 years, it was like nothing happened. The brakes were on, and I couldn't. The magic couldn't move forward until I was willing to move forward.
Well, it's
And
like I mean, it's
it's
like you're asking for what you want versus what's best for you. At the same time, you're asking these gods or daemons or angels, whatever you want to call them, to do what's best for you. It's like I want to be happy. I want to be in love. I want the love of my life, and you know, you're asking them to pair you with someone who's a fucking piece of shit for you, at least. They might be the perfect person for somebody
somebody
else. I'm
else,
sure they
sure.
are, but not for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have to fucking do magic, right? It would just happen naturally. So I mean, what I'm asking them for when I do love magic for people is to just orchestrate them meeting the right person at the right time that is right for them. And
And
so, after my horrible, nasty divorce, I was pretty I was pretty jaded on women. I dated a couple of them after my divorce, and I was just like, you know what? I'm throwing this up to the spirits. I was like, when you guys want me to move on and have a partner, like a real partner, a life partner. I mean, like getting pussy's fine, but that's not even what I'm interested in at this point because it just comes with problems. Like, no, I want an actual life partner. All right. And so whenever you guys want me to have someone else and be with someone else, then you will bring her to me. And I will know because you picked her for me.
Yep.
And now, dude, I'm with the most amazing woman that I've ever met in my life.
Yep.
She is like genius level intelligent. She is a doctor. She is a business owner. She is 10 times smarter than I am. She is my age and she is absolutely gorgeous. And I could not
And
be happier, dude. I could
you,
not.
you've
Oh,
you did introduce me to her a little bit via Zoom while we were out in Utah, and that was cool.
yeah.
And you could tell you're a happy guy, and talking to her, and
Yeah.
it seems like it's a really good change for you.
Yeah. You'll meet her
Very
in person
happy.
next boot camp too, because you're going to be
Absolutely.
there.
I'm planning on it.
Faith
Yeah.
willing. She's coming with me to this boot camp.
Awesome.
So
I'd love to bring my
you'll
lady
actually
as well if we can schedule it. So
yeah.
it'll,
Yeah, we got the dates up on the website now. I won't say it because I briefly looked at it. Elle posted it on the website, but yeah,
I
the
saw what's
dates
up.
are solid. We're already getting our plane tickets and everything. People are already signing up for it. I think it's going to be an awesome turnout. I think it's going to be an awesome event. And yeah, you're going to be there, brother. I hope.
Yeah, and I plan on bringing some goodies for folks. I got a few things in the works, and
Nice.
hope to help for sure. I've got some ideas. I was reading back Charlie's comments about not finding the right. It's all about timing. And other people's love magic. It just you've got to be open. And for me, like my example was, you just had to forget it was there. You kind of accept. Hey, it's what they. I forget the commercial where it was, you set it and forget it. It's kind of that situation. Do the magic and forget about it and let things happen.
Fuck yeah, dude. So before we get on the next topic, I want to ask everyone in the chat to charge my Lucifer sigil. All right, just focus on that for a minute. This is going to be a fun experiment for someone that I know is watching. So let's just focus on that for a second. Let's take a moment of silence for this guy. I won't say it, but yeah. All right. So
Awesome.
okay. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Now, just going to get a couple of thumbtacks here and pin his picture to the sigil. Put it right there. Oh yeah, nice and pretty right in the middle.
Here we go. Oh,
This is something extra special that I'm doing for an extra special person here. Oh yeah. There
yeah.
we
I don't
go.
want to give away the details. That's up to you. I
Oh
see
no,
people in the chat are asking, but yeah, it's
he's
like, no,
pretty.
that's up to you.
Yeah, he's beautiful. He's so pretty. I'd fuck him with something other than my penis, like a mop ringer or something like that. Broomstick handle. But anyway,
Uh,
my chat's not moving, so let's see. Travis Keenan says I do my love spells for people with La Santa Morte. Yeah, that's
yeah,
an excellent choice. I
I
love
actually just
Santa
started
Morte.
working with her too. So yeah,
I
very.
started working with her right about 2 years ago, and I'll say that she is badass when it comes to protection. She's badass when it comes to love magic. She's badass when it comes to looking out for you. All right,
That's
she
kind of
will.
where I asked her into my life, and we'll get into that story. I'm sure we've got so many we could tell. But man,
Yeah,
that yeah, the way she came into my life was something else as well. And she walked into my life. I didn't go looking. It was kind of, I got hit in the face. So
yeah. No, she's awesome. I absolutely love her. See, Dan Best is in the chat. What's up, brother?
hey
Good friend of
Dan,
mine.
yep.
I no longer am on Facebook. I deleted that shit like months ago. I still have Facebook Messenger, but I've gotten like 50 messages. Like I said, like, man, did I piss you off? Did you unfriend me or whatever? Like, no, I just deactivated my Facebook.
No,
So, but yeah,
well,
man,
you can find me, Brad
some people
Graham,
are
on
meant to be
Facebook.
single. Yeah, some people are meant to be single. I will say that too. That's 100% right.
You don't want to
Let's
force it for sure. That's
see. Morgan said it's a question for you, Brad. Said Brad, what's your website or Etsy, etc., for oils or other services? You want to go ahead and plug that?
Yeah, I mean, and we'll post it up later, I'm sure. But I just started under. It is under Etsy. Brad Grand. Ritual oil for healing touch of Marbus. It's in there. I put 10 bottles in, 10 1 ounce bottles in the store at a low price. Just I want to get it in people's hands. I want people using it. I'll never sell it that low again. For all the energy and the time and investment I have into it, it I've definitely put a lot into this oil, and I see other people, you know, I know what I have,
No, no,
and I just want to get it out there.
I've got a great review for that here in just a second. Let's see. Aaron 666. Hey, yeah, what's up, brother? Man, glad you're here. Says
Welcome.
the haunted lavender 222. Hey JS, much love from Canada. Much love to you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. I'm scrolling through the chat. It's supposed to move on its own, but it's stopped for some reason. Charlie Ray, love spells don't work for me. All right, so try doing a general love spell, not focused on a specific person, just asking
Oh, never
for the
mind.
right person to be brought in your life, especially with a love goddess like Astarte or Santa Morte, as Travis mentioned earlier. I bet it's not very long before you meet a suitable partner
And
for you.
I know two magicians right here who could probably help you with that as well if you want to if you want to reach out and get in touch. So
Yeah, they said even other people's love spells don't work for me. I think I have spiritual influence that want me alone. That actually could be a possibility. Spiritual bondage, spiritual baggage, or curses that can follow you from another life. That's a very real thing, a very real factor. I would recommend doing a rite with Fall to wipe your slate clean and remove any type of curse or spiritual bondage that you may be suffering from, and then
I would.
do working with, say, Santa Morte or Astarte and just asking them to bring you a partner. I
I
bet
was
you
just
get,
say there could be something there holding you back, for
yeah.
sure, and it could be wiping it clean would be a big deal. Or
See, Morgan, some love magic. Charlie is coercive and will either not work or be messed up as JS. Okay. Let me reread that. Some love magic, Charlie, is coercive and will either not work or be messed up as JS says. Okay, I think I get what you're
yeah,
saying. Yes, thank you. Aaron, I know the right woman will come to me one of these days. Yeah, you can expedite that by working with one of these goddesses. And I absolutely recommend working with one of the love goddesses, even a war goddess, because I mean, even Astarte, she's the goddess of love, she's the goddess of war.
yep.
Uh, Ombagira, oh God, Santa Morte, like they are capable of blessing you with love and abundance in that area, and they are also capable of smashing your fucking enemies, especially chomos. And we'll get into that here in a minute. Like I love smashing some chomos. I actually got a picture of a chomo right here that I'm going to show. I'm going to ask my audience to charge that too. It's Justice for Lincoln Riley, and that is a situation that really got to me. And life without parole, that's
I
just
don't
not good
think he's
enough.
gonna make it very long.
That is not good. You know what? I actually don't want him to die. I want him to live a long life in prison, taking it up the poop chute and getting beaten to a pulp.
Yeah,
Let's
he's.
see. Yeah. Travis Keenan, you're a power couple like Elsa and I now. You talking about me and Brad, or me and Siren?
I hope.
Yeah,
I
we're all power couple. We're both
I'll
power
say I'll say do a dynamic duo, but not not a power couple.
couple. Yeah, you and Elsa are definitely a power couple. Travis. I've known you guys for years. I have a lot of admiration for your relationship. Like I know you guys, or I know you on a personal level, and I know your wife through you somewhat. And yeah, you guys are awesome. I fucking love you guys. And Travis, you are long due to come on a live stream with me. So whenever you're ready, hit me up. We'll do it. See, Aaron, never force a love spell. I agree with.
Oh,
It will backfire. Yeah, it will.
yep, that's where you got to be open,
Jeremiah
man.
Smith, what's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Charlie Ray, thank you. Yes, I appreciate your support, man. Let's see. Do we have any questions for Brad here? Do we have any questions for Brad Grant? This guy is a badass magician. Like I said, I've been working with him for years, and he's done some awesome things. We've done some awesome work in person. So now is your
Yeah, yeah.
chance to ask him questions without booking a consultation.
Last time, well, when we were together in Utah, we threw a pretty effective curse on somebody on my behalf, and he's
How'd that work?
well, I mean, to be quite little backstory. This is a an ex boyfriend of my daughter who was been bringing her down for a while, and yeah, he ended up getting out. He actually ended up in jail for quite a while, but they're broken up, and he did spend a decent amount of time, like 6 7 months inside, and ended up having through. From what I understand, last I heard that he was in some type of detox or rehab program. But my daughter's lost all interest in that.
Good.
That's the most important part for me is I just wanted this kid out of her life. Let's see, coolest
I hope his butthole was
most
wore
coolest badass spell I
out.
have done. Whew. Well, let's see
What was the question?
I threw. What is the coolest or most badass spell I've done?
Hmm.
Boy,
Hard.
I messed around with a curse for somebody, and we talk about when you curse somebody, have a really good reason. And I cursed somebody for basically saying mean things to me. It was an ex girlfriend, and she basically said all the typical stuff a woman will tell a guy after they break up to make him feel like crap. And she ended up getting with another guy right away. And I put a curse on her. They were going to break up, and she's going to be miserable and alone for the rest of her life. Well, within 2 weeks of me setting that curse, he cheated on her. So they broke up, and she found out she's pregnant. Now she was my, like, I guess for lack of a better word, my midlife crisis. At the time I was 40 and she was 23.
Damn.
Um, yeah.
Way
So,
to
and
go, bro.
super, super cute girl. Little bit of a head case. And when I laid that curse, like I say, she ended up pregnant, ended up broken up, and she has not been able to get into any type of relationship since then. And it's and I don't. It's not like I don't even try to like follow her, but like you find out from people we know. We used to work together. We have mutual friends, and she's just been a disaster ever since, and continues to be single to this day, to the best of my knowledge. Last time I knew for sure it was only a couple months ago, and yeah, she ended up a single mom and can't find a relationship for anything. So
Did she
you know,
deserve that?
and and that's the thing is like what I said for words. No, and that's actually why I walked away for a little while. Truth be told, um, I ended up walking away from doing magic for a while. Once I saw just how hard it hit her, and it took a while for me to come back, and I had a pretty good reason for coming back. And I guess we can probably get into that story too. But yeah, it was like, ooh, I'm messing with stuff that could really affect people's lives, and it
Yeah.
was rapid. And I basically took the curse, one of the curses you had released a course on, and I modified it to my own means, and it worked. Like, hit her between the eyes, man, and her life hadn't been the same. And like I said, it's not anybody I don't follow her actively, of course, because I'm happy moved on. But yeah, it was not a nice thing to do. And before I throw a curse like that again on anybody else, it's because they have it coming. It's not because they said something mean to me and upset my feelings. And I really encourage people to take into consideration when you throw curses on people, they really need to be deserving of it because it really
I
can affect people's lives.
I've I've gone off half cocked more than once and thrown some deadly curses at people that, looking back, it was not warranted. It might have been warranted to break their jaw, you know, to
Sure.
beat their, but to curse them and kill them. To give you an example, back when I was married, a guy said some really vulgar, disgusting things to my ex-wife on a public platform, and I gave him the chance to apologize. He told me to go fuck myself and try me, bitch. I'm like, okay,
I
I will.
remember.
Yeah. Well, he's dead now.
Oh wow, I remember
Yeah.
he wasn't doing too well last time I heard.
Yeah. Well,
He got sick, if I recall, right?
yeah. The first thing that happened is his fiance left him and stole his money, and then he came down with emphysema, and then he suffered for several years, like 3 years, and then got sepsis and died. And
Wow.
looking back, you know, if I'd have been him and this bitch had smarted off to me like that, I might have told her to blow me too. You know, I might have said something similar. I probably wouldn't have been that vulgar, but I definitely would have told the bitch to fuck off. Um, he didn't deserve to go out like that. And I'm not saying that I did it. All right. I'm not even blaming myself, but it is one hell of a coincidence that I put a death curse on him and now he's dead. And I didn't just want him to die, I wanted him to suffer first and make an example out of him. And even though after the fact, a couple years later, looking back, I'm like, yeah, this bitch was being a bitch, and he should have told her off. I wanted to undo it. I tried to undo it, and I could not undo it
No,
because
and
you can't take back a bullet like that, man. And I did the worst thing I could have done to him because he publicly said, "Try me, bitch." I'm like, okay,
yeah, it,
I will. And he's no longer with us. And did he deserve that? No. But that's just like another reason you should not fuck with people like us. I'm sorry.
it's true. I mean, you send it out once it's gone, and it's. I say I can't undo what I did. It's been too many years now. I wouldn't even, you know. I remember the spirit. The spirit I asked to step in and do to take care of it. But yeah, it's been too long, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was uncalled for. I see Jared's got a pretty good question about healing cancer, and I think you have a story about that.
Let's
I hear.
see. I'm not caught up in the chat here. So somebody said, Charlie said, is that Curtis Joseph? I guess they're talking about that picture.
Oh yeah,
No, no,
no,
that's
no.
not Curtis. I love Curtis. I wouldn't do that to Curtis. Curtis is my hero. Let's see. What's the question you saw there, bro?
Oh, it's towards the end of the chat now. Have you ever healed somebody with cancer?
Yes.
I know you've had that story. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I've told you that story. I haven't told anybody
yeah.
else that story. I was actually planning to do a story time about that because, like, people had asked me, like, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened with the deification right? I'm like, it's a tie. Is a video, the story time I just dropped, from the guy that was in a wheelchair that couldn't walk, that's like all of a sudden better afterwards. So I'll go ahead and tell the story now, really quick. This girl hired me for a deification rite. She was like 24 years old and she was agoraphobe. She had agoraphobia. For those of you that don't know what agoraphobia is, that's where you have a phobia, a fear of leaving the house. All right. So these people that have extreme agoraphobia, they never leave the house. Like she told me, she's like, I have a panic attack just walking to the mailbox and it's 50 feet from my house. Like I cannot, my husband has to take care of me. He has to do everything. Like I can't leave the house without having a complete and total panic attack. And so that's why she hired me for the deification rite, was to try to heal the agoraphobia. And she also happened to mention that she had cancer. She had a baseball sized cancer tumor on her neck and shoulder.
I remember
And
this.
she was scheduled to have that surgically removed approximately 30 days before I performed the deification rite for her. Now, we never discussed the cancer. Not really. I mean, she told me she had it. And, we never even discussed that, we were trying to do the ritual to heal that or anything like that. We were focused on the agoraphobia. And so I'm like, I thought about it before the ritual and I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I can do something about that cancer too, you know? So I performed the deification rite for her and Shimyaza elected to assign her a familiar spirit. I requested it, a familiar spirit to essentially stay with her all the time, to make her feel safe, secure, and protected and fearless. I asked for her to be fearless. I literally said that in the ritual. May she be fearless. And I was like, oh, and by the way, if you can do anything for this cancer, then please do so. And so she writes me back 2 days later. She's like, I'm fearless now. She hadn't even got the video of the ritual yet. So we can't even call this a placebo effect. She's like, I've been fearless for the last 2 days. Like, I went for a walk today. I went for a walk. I checked the mail yesterday, and today I went for a walk in the fucking park or whatever. She's like, I'm not afraid of anything. The agoraphobia is gone. I'm like,
Nice.
okay, awesome. So then she writes me back a month later. She's like, man, I got one hell of a story for you. She's like, I was scheduled to have surgery on this cancer tumor, you know, a month before you performed the ritual for me. She said the tumor started shrinking the day after you performed the ritual. And by the time I went in for pre op, it was the size of a marble. And the doctors were fucking baffled. They said, we don't have
Awesome.
to do surgery on you. The cancer tumor has gone into rapid remission, and then it completely disappeared and she is cancer free.
That's awesome.
So I have to be careful. Like, I could never advertise a ritual to heal cancer or something like
Oh
that.
no.
Like you can never guarantee anything like that. But the miracles that have happened with this ritual are profound in some cases, like this one. And the only way that I can explain it is that it's a massive energetic transfer. I'm taking a massive amount of energy from the sacrifice, the rooster or the chicken or the snake or the rabbit, whatever I'm using as a sacrifice. I'm transferring all that energy into a person's physical body. And therefore, it gives their body the energy that it needs to heal itself. Because all healing is self healing. Even if you got a virus, or not a virus, or bacterial infection, whatever, you take a pill, you take an antibiotic to kill to heal your sinus infection. You're just giving your body what it needs to heal itself. Your body knows what to do to heal itself if it has the sustenance in order to do so. So, by transferring this massive amount of energy into this young woman's body, it gave her body the energy that it needed to dissolve and eat away that cancer tumor and send it into rapid remission. Now, I'm not saying that I can heal anyone of cancer. However, I'm saying that if I had a loved one with cancer, then I would be doing that exact same ritual for them. So, yes, that is one case where cancer has been healed via the rite of deification.
Awesome. And I haven't had any experience with cancer. In fact, the first healing ritual I ever tried was involved your brother. So, and shortly, and then going into Utah is when I coming back from Utah, coming back from you and EA's boot camp in Els, is when I was channeled that the oil to do the oil. I was
Yeah.
like, it just hit me. Like I'm driving back, and I was I took I took my hippie van out, out to visit you guys, and I'm driving back, and it just hits me, and it starts. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to add. This is the ritual you're going to do, and it kind of just built up from there. And I radionically, and after doing the ritual, put it on the radionics box, and now it's at this point, it's been on the radionics box for months, just sitting there charging and building. So, but I'm yeah, and I've had positive experience. I just used it the other day on a knee tweak. I I work with children, so I keep. I'm not going to say exactly what I do, but in my life, I work with children, and I actually almost stepped on one. And when I twisted away to keep from stepping on a child that was right behind me, I didn't know was there. Um, I twisted my knee, and it was like, ooh, swelled up a little bit. So I said, hey, you know what? I made a healing oil. I'm gonna give it a shot, and put it right on. I felt, the next day I felt great, no issues there. So
Yeah.
I was actually pretty pleased with it, and I've had good feedback from everybody who's put it in their hands so far. Um,
I've actually had two experiences with your healing oil, as far as physically in person. Now, I've used your healing oil in pretty much every distance ritual that I've done, especially like the deification rite. I'll put some in the fire. I'll,
awesome.
a few drops on their picture when I offer it into the fire. I've had great results with that. But I had two loved ones. One came down with a nasty stomach condition, stomach virus. We don't know exactly what it was, but I took your oil, I activated it, and I rubbed it all over her stomach. And I went outside to my fire pit and then performed a rite with Marbas, a healing ritual for her. And her son actually did it with me. So she was fine immediately afterwards. Woke up the next
Awesome.
day, totally healed. All right. But the next day, her son came down with the same symptoms, only it was worse. All
Oh
right.
wow.
Like, he was suffering from the same illness. And I I was doing some preliminary rituals. I was gonna do the same ritual for him. And it was like, whoa, hold on. Like, something spoke to me. It's like, this is not a sickness. This is not a virus. This is something worse. This is something nasty that has been thrown at my loved ones. So I essentially did the same thing. I put the oil on him. I drew the sigil of Ophal on his chest, did a full evocation with Ophal. I blooded it, his mother blooded it, and then I drew the sigil of Raphael on his stomach after applying the oil, evoked Raphael into him, and he was like, "This was bad. We are about to take him to the hospital. He was writhing in pain, like severe stomach cramps, like really bad. Like, we
Oh,
were scared, you know." And as soon as I applied the oil, he started to calm down and soothe. And then I went through with the ritual and went through with both evocations of Ophal and Raphael. And by the time I was done, he was completely calm, no more symptoms, no more pain, no more cramps. Woke up the next day, he was fine.
awesome.
So that healing oil absolutely works. And he started to, both of them started to feel better, and the pain dispersed, or the pain dispersed as soon as I applied it directly on the skin after activating it. So that's some
That's
good shit.
great. Yeah, and it's funny as I actually did one more ritual with it. You've got the 1.0, the 2.0 is what's out there now, and one more ritual just to really send it home. That's been great. So I was going to circle. I got a few more questions. I was going to, Dan asked what keeps me motivated, and that's kind of been an interesting thing too. And when you and I have talked a lot about it, is things keep coming into my life that make me take action. Um, again, I told you guys I work with kids, and I was working with these. With it was a set of twin 4-year-old girls and a 3-year-old sister, and they were talking about having nightmares of Satan and bad, basically having these horrible dreams, waking up with scratches, waking up with hair pulled out, and just craziness. And that's, I told you earlier why I got out of it was this curse that went bad. This is what brought me back into it was seeing that these little girls were being afflicted by something.
Yeah.
And I took action. We put some. You helped me out with it at the time too, and you've actually, and I appreciate it. Because a lot of people did. I got a lot of people recruited in this because it was a really troubling thing to see these girls afflicted the way they were.
I
And what
remember.
it came, we what it came down to is we found out that mom and dad were it was mom and dad split up. Mom had remarried a guy who was a Satanist, and we don't know exactly what went down, but they did something that ended up afflicting these girls or letting something into these girls' lives. And I was, and we did some work, and we got them free of nightmares and got them free of waking up from the scratches, from the things that were happening to them. And it was kind of a big, it was kind of a big deal for me to, it's like, hey, I have this knowledge, I need to put it to work, start, using it again.
Yeah.
And it worked out. And then shortly after that happened, so this was back when me and my current girlfriend, we were dating, but we weren't together yet. We weren't quote unquote a couple. And she had actually gone. She had a friend from high school that was going through a divorce, and she had gone over to his house. He'd asked her to come over. She went over there to be a friend, and he ends up making a pass at her. She says, "No, I'm seeing somebody. I'm happy." And he's going on and telling her just about how bad things are with with what was going on in his life, she leaves, and I'm gonna say for YouTube purposes, within a couple hours of her leaving his house that day, he self deleted. And when that happened,
Shouldn't have made a pass
something.
at your girl, man.
What's that?
He shouldn't have made a pass at your girl.
Well, what happened after that is now my girl is starting to have terrible thoughts. She's seeing things. She's having a lot of trouble. Um, and I don't know what happened, but I'm thinking something that had affixed itself to him
Jumped.
transferred to her. So I go do what I know to do, and I put up protection around her, and boom, okay, cool, no problem. Well, my girlfriend has teenage daughters, and slowly over a period of about 6 weeks, one's mental health took a steep nosedive. She's cutting herself. She's talking about self deletion. And I think what happened in the house, because I put protection just around my girl, it made another hop.
Yeah.
And that's when I got you involved pretty heavy, because I was trying to get rid of this thing, whatever it was. And people, and they've always, my girl and her daughters have always been sensitive to stuff. And you actually, if you remember, you sent me that sigil I used to trap it,
Yeah.
and we did a ritual in the house. And I did it with Aster Ludu, and basically asked him to bring his flaming sword into that house and dispatch what it was that I trapped on that sigil. And that was the end of it at that point.
Everything's been
Everything went quiet at that, after that. Um, but yeah, I really do believe that whatever, whatever type of parasitic thing that was out there that had latched onto her friend made the jump to her.
yeah.
And then there's so much that story about the weird things that were going on in the house. I mean, the house, basically, when I started to try to put more protection around them, just weird things, almost like poltergeist. I just got a sale. Thank you so much, James. Um, it was it was something else. I mean, like and it took finally, like I say, trapping it in that sigil, bringing Aster Ludo down, and asking him to bring that flaming sword, and to finally dispatch this thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Azraludu
crazy.
is a badass,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah. In
yeah,
fact,
I've got a similar story experience. I've told it on here before, so I'm
you
not going
have.
to get in. But yeah, parasitic things like that can absolutely jump from one person to another. Not just through touch or being in the vicinity, but also through like saliva. You can share a cigarette with someone or a joint with someone, and that will give it access to your body. But
Yeah.
I've dealt with situations like that where like someone was suffering from something similar to what you're discussing, making them want to delete themselves, and then they prayed with them, and tried to help them, and then all of a sudden they start suffering from the same affliction. It's like it jumps from one person to another. So yeah, that's really the only way to deal with these types of parasites, is to kill them. And Azraludu is 100% my recommendation for that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you were able to deal with that, man. Like
It
that's
was
awesome.
really effective. And my girl. She is very sensitive to stuff. And I don't. One of the things that I think I've told you recently is I'm into ghost hunting. I like doing that type of stuff. I've even got some. I've got some pretty decent equipment for it. And one of these days, what I want to do is merge the two. Is see when we call these spirits in. I've got some pretty. I've got an XLS camera, full spectrum stuff, the thermal imaging. I want to see if we can get these spirits when we call them into the ritual circle and actually see them show up, and kind of put things to
Good.
rest as far as what's there. And I think I'll definitely bring it out to the boot camp
Yeah.
when we get out there, because
Let's
it'd be
let's do it
interesting to
while we're
see what we
there.
can do.
Let's do it.
Um, me and my girl were down, and I'm from Arizona. Me and my girl were in Tucson, or excuse me, not Tucson, Tombstone, Old West Town, and I'd taken the XLS camera into the original Undertaker's office, And she came in with me, and I'm just kind of moving around, just doing, asking the general type of spirit to get the spirit to interact, see if I can get it to show up on the camera. And all of a sudden, she just gets really twitchy and she runs out. Um, and I say runs, so she walks out quickly. So I finish up what I'm doing and I go to find her, and I find her across the street sitting on a bench, like in tears. And it was interesting because when we walked in there, we both felt an oppressive type of spirit in that building. Like it was very evident. And I don't even consider myself a sensitive person, but
Yeah.
when I can feel it, it's like it's definitely there.
Yeah.
If she said it to
Thing
me,
is,
she's like, "Oh,
I'm not
there's
a kick. I'm not a medium.
yeah."
Any like if I feel it, yeah, it's definitely there.
So we go about our day. We go from Tombstone to Bisbee, which is another little mountain town nearby, and she's just getting just torn down by this thing. She's, in tears. We don't, and I actually, it was funny. We go into the little shop in Bisbee. I got a smudge with some white sage. I'm trying to smudge her, and nothing's working. And finally, we go back. We decide, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this thing. So we go back to Tombstone. At this point, the office is closed. But I take my master key, and if anybody who isn't, if you're a practitioner and you're not using this, you should be using this. And I open it, and I just ask, I asked Shimyaza to whatever this is on her to cast it out. And I take it off and I just kind of push it against her shoulder. Instantly relieved. She went from tears to she's like, okay, I'm okay now. And
That's
it was like, I do so much with energy manipulation, energies through distance, transferring of energies. It's an awesome tool. It works. And I keep it around my neck all the time. So
oh yeah, bro.
it's awesome.
And yeah, I keep it
Yeah.
tattooed on my chest all the time for that same reason, man. Um, yeah, I'm just so like honored and thankful to be the one that like rediscovered that and put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's awesome. And Shimyaza is awesome. And yeah.
Yeah. There's no better teacher out there that I've come across as far as it says that in the book of Enoch that he taught root work and sorcery, and it's like when you work with him, it's like you're literally sitting in a classroom. Like EA even mentioned that he's like, I feel like I'm sitting in a classroom whenever I evoke him. Um, yeah, just words. I couldn't come up with words that do him justice. I really couldn't. You know.
Yeah, that's something I say. I probably need to try to open myself up more to. I did a lot of work with them in the very beginning, and I probably should again just to get back on pace and see what else I can learn because it really
Yeah.
it's such an effective tool.
I dude, I'm human, man. I trail off. I get distracted. I get caught up in everyday life. I get consumed with distractions and bullshit. And it's like every so often, boom, I get a wake up call. And it might actually be, I've got a scar on that side from a concussion, a scar on that side from a concussion. It's like whenever I veer off course, like I get my head split open, like quite literally. And dude, like just this is not this is not an easy path to walk, man. It's not. It's not for
Oh
pussy.
no, you got if you're going to be with a woman, she's got to know and understand what you do,
Yeah.
and you can't. That's it's kind of my girlfriend. She's a former Mormon, and
Nice.
yeah, it
That's worse than a recovering Catholic.
I'll tell you, and she's just so open to all of it. And it's actually funny because when she went through her divorce, she went and got her first tattoo, and her tattoo guy was a Satanist, and the tattoo guy starts. She asked him, so what's being a Satanist about? And he starts to explain it, and she's like, maybe I'm a Satanist. It just people don't, it's not about being evil. It's not about that. It's just doing, doing your own path.
That's
So
how I first figured out that I was a Satanist, is because I was like, this was, years ago, like 12 years ago, and I was just like going through my awakening. I'm like, who's the enemy? Who's the evil people that are trying to dominate and control us and take our freedoms? And the mainstream says, oh, it's the evil Satanists. It's the evil Satanists. So I'm like, okay, right out of Sun Tzu's Honor War, know thy enemy. So I start researching my enemy, my supposed enemy, Satanists. And I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. I agree with everything they fucking say. Maybe I'm a Satanist, and maybe the enemy is the mainstream religions and media, whatever you want to call it.
well,
So,
you don't hear Satanists, committing war and killing people in the name of Satan too often. So
hey,
that's one thing to
didn't
keep in
kill
mind.
Bible. Satan didn't kill anybody in the Bible. Like
Yeah,
yeah, Yahweh or God or whatever the Christian God, he killed like millions of people. Satan didn't kill anybody.
yeah.
You never heard of a group of Satanists storming a city and killing babies and raping women. You never heard of a group of Satanists like, raping children by the thousands like the Catholic Church. I mean, the Catholic Church, by their own definition of what a satanic cult supposedly is, they're the closest thing to that definition. So yeah,
It's interesting.
we're the good
Yeah,
we're the good guys.
I I have no, like I say, if we're evil, then so be it. But then the definition of evil is turned on top of its head.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
in this bad copy of reality, like what's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. It's like everything's been inverted. It's like what's good is evil and what's evil is actually good. Like we're totally programmed backwards. So I started trying to learn how to think backwards. It's like if everyone's telling me something is bad, then I might want to pay a little bit more attention to that versus everything that I'm being told is good and righteous. It usually turns out that the villain in the stories is actually the hero.
right? If you believe our mainstream media, what's going on in our politics right now, it's kind of the same story.
Yeah, speaking of which, who's butt heard about the election? How many of you in the chat are butt heard about the election?
Not, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. That South Park episode where they're making fun of the oil spills, where the spokesman for the oil companies like, we're sorry, and then he's like naked, ass up by the campfire. Sorry. Yeah, that's me and Brad right now going, sorry.
Yeah,
I love all these reaction videos, fucking bitches shaving their heads.
for as far as I'm concerned, that just tells me like if I see that, I'm crossing the street. I just don't even want to. No, I don't want any
Sorry,
part of that.
not.
I don't want any part of that crazy energy.
Hey, here's the Trump.
Yeah,
And here's the guns.
guns. We have guns.
Yes, we have show and tell. This is
Go
the
for it.
Kel-Tec. I might have showed this off years ago. I've had this for a while. This is the Kel-Tec CMR 30. Back up so you can see it really good. I got pop-up sights here. I also have a red dot on here. But if my batteries die, then I can see through my red dot lens to use my iron sights. It has a threaded barrel. This screws off the tip so you can put a
Little suppressor.
here, or a silencer, as most of y'all call it. And then it has an extension stock. So I can use it as a really, really short pew pew, or I can use it
Oh
as a
wow.
16-inch barrel, which is legal. It goes all the way back here. So if I want to collapse the stock and shoot some close-up shit indoors, then it works really good. It's very versatile. And if I want to reach out and touch a motherfucker from 300 yards away, then I can do that also. It holds 30 rounds of 22 Magnum, which if anybody knows anything about bullets and ballistic.
Nasty.
22 Magnum is the last bullet you want to get shot by.
It's a nasty little cartridge.
I mean, a 5.7 theoretically is nastier, but it's moving so fast, and the twist on the barrel is so it's like 9.7 twist or whatever. It just punches this hole straight through you. Whereas a 22 Magnum like basically explodes and goes in 5 different directions when it hits you in the chest. So
Yeah.
30 rounds, and if you cannot take out your target with 30 rounds, then you're just fucked because you can't shoot. So I highly recommend this for a backpack gun. And when and if the Venezuelans and Guatemalans and all these gangs ever actually get the balls to come over here to the East Coast and try that shit in a small town, I can't wait.
Well,
what do you
all
got?
right.
What do you got for
All right.
Sean
So I travel. Like right now, I am in the finest suite at the Best Western, and I travel a lot. So, but I do keep a few things with me at all times, and this
Nice.
being my numero uno. So this is a Ruger PC charger.
Nice.
And you shot it, and
Yeah, I shot
right out
that
in Utah, and it runs on Glock mags, and you can see how shorted.
I had a orgasm in pants when I shot that.
And
That's
it's small. It's compact. Like I said, it folds up. And if I need to go into something really small, actually, I gotta do that. I can even shorten it up even just that much more if I really gotta sneak it in somewhere, because this will fold up as well.
Yeah,
and
you didn't do
it
all
gets
that.
tiny.
You let me shoot it. You just let me shoot it like you had it, man. You didn't take the barrel off.
Yeah, no, it gets really really compact if I needed to. It's a little. It rides in my bag all the time, so it gets a little beat on. But red dot, and it's got one of those like. As long as I change this red dot, I think it's like once every 11 months, or change the battery in it. It actually runs all the time, so it's always on.
Nice.
And that's my travel. That's what I go around with that, and I've got a Glock 19 in the bag too. And then what's cool is this and the Glock 19 run on the same mags. So I've got I've got one of the candy bar mags, and yeah, I'm down here on the border. I work around this area constantly. So, but that's my travel all that I keep with me. So, hope to never have to use it.
That is a sweet shooting gun. I can't wait for you to come out here so you can shoot some of my guns, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna make that happen. Let's get boot camp knocked out, and then we'll put something together we can collab on, and I'll make the trip out that way.
Yeah, boot camp is this coming April. Brad will be there. I will be there. My beautiful girl Siren will be there, and of course EA and El the Alchemist will be there, along with whoever else decides to sign up for it, which people are already signing up. I think it's dude. The last boot camp we did was I don't even know how to describe it, man. It was over the top, badass, and we did some of the most awesome rituals I've ever been a part of. Well, as far as group rituals go, like the most badass rituals I've ever been a part of.
That was an intense ritual, though. Especially the one we closed on was something else, and that actually wasn't what we closed on, because we did that the Saturday night, the night after the boot camp was officially over. But yeah, that was no, take it back. We did one the night the night we closed as well. Actually, they were both really intense.
Yeah,
come to think of it. It was a life changing experience, eye opening. Gave me my first little dabbled the toe into necromancy, and actually showed me some stuff that was pretty scary. So, trying to make some corrections and go that do some things better. Yeah. What else? We did some cool radionic stuff while we were there as well.
Yeah, I experienced some things out there that I've not experienced before. So, yeah, I mean, we could do a whole nother podcast just about the boot camp.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're at a little over an hour now, so I'm thinking we should scroll through the chat here and answer the questions we have.
Absolutely.
My chat's frozen. It's supposed to like constantly go up, so I'm gonna have to scroll through it. So,
yeah, let's see what you got.
Al says, "What do you think about changing physical appearance through magic, such as a height increase, eye color change, etc.?" I'll
Ooh,
say that that is probably possible. I've spoken to many people that have claimed to experience those things temporarily through ritual magic, but I myself have not experienced those as far as height change or change in eye color. Yeah, I mean, I'll say it's possible, but I would not be able to tell you how to do it. Do you have anything to add to that, Brad?
no, I mean, like I know that either Lucifer and Azazel are two that that come to mind as far as spirits to work with on that type of stuff. But as far as how something that's significant, no, I don't have a lot of thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Bless you.
I I don't have much experience with that. See, James Anthony is in the house. He says single for life. LOL. Yeah, I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you at all for that. See, Morgan, maybe you're blocking it. Charlie, okay, that's not for us. See, Aaron666 sent a super chat. What's up, JS? Hey, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the super chat donation. I appreciate you, man. 100%. See, Jay the Sage, greetings, folks. The review, great channel. Thank you. See, I'm looking for questions here. Let's see. Pastor.
Let's see.
Much love from Vegas. And we got a lot of I swear I don't know why my chat froze there. Says I see Charlie Ray. I did a ritual with Ophal long ago. Might need to do it again. Absolutely. I do rituals with Ophal on a regular basis.
Reminds me, we got to tell one more story about breaking a curse too when we get finished, because
All right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
something that's very recent, and I got news on that for you.
Hell yeah. So Aaron666 sent another super chat. Says Hail Azazel, Hail Belial, Hail Marbas. Much love, JS. Thank you, brother. Thank you again. Let's see. Brady says, me and the wife work with Astarte and Lilith. Cheese God. That is a cool name. Cheese God. When
Look
doing
you
a
guys.
ritual fire, when it's finished, do I just let it continue or can I turn it off? Um, okay, so I
Find
don't
that
know what
one.
you mean by turn it off unless you're talking about like a propane type fire. So when I do a ritual where I have a fire going, I let the fire burn out, and I usually have a
And
sacrifice in that fire, and it burns out on its own. If you're using something like propane or something that you actually have to turn off, then yeah, I would say after you close out the ritual and the sacrifice has been incinerated to total cell death, as we would call it, to where it's fully cooked, then at that point, yes, you would turn off the propane, if I'm understanding the question correctly. The Travis Keenan says, "You and your lady." Thank you, brother. Love you too, bro. Love you, Travis,
okay,
man.
yeah,
Good friend of mine.
it goes back a little ways.
See, Brad, what was the coolest? Oh, you already answered that.
Yep, talked about that one.
Damn, I'm really behind on the chat. Like I said, it froze. The Schaumburg, either this year I did a hex with Abaddon, one of my patrons, to ex friend who was shit to me, and he got his car stolen or disappeared and injured his mouth. Well, sounds like he got what he deserved. Cheese God, how do I create an appropriate pact with a demon? I know that I can be very broad with different demons, but for example, Satan. All right, so pacts with Satan are for life. And at least that's my experience and my opinion. So how do you create an appropriate pact with a demon such as Satan, or a god as I would call him, such as Satan the adversary? You would write out a pact saying, I, Cheese God, whatever your real name is, would go there, am hereby entering into this pact with Lord Satan of my own free will for the purpose of X, Y, and Z, for the purpose of blank, for the purpose of accomplishing this, this, and that, whatever the pact is for. And say, that for this pact, I will agree to do X, Y, and Z. I will agree to build an altar for you in my house. I will agree to make weekly blood offerings to you. I will agree to build a statue for you on my front lawn. Like whatever it is that you're agreeing to legally, all right, don't go do nothing crazy, all right, but you would state your proposal for the pact. I, Cheese God, am entering into this pact for the purpose of this, and this is what I'm going to give Satan in exchange for what I'm asking for. And then you would say, Lord Satan agrees to enter into this pact with me, and state your name in exchange for this, for the purpose of this. And you would then take that pact, that written pact, into the ritual circle. You would summon Satan, assuming that you would summon him successfully. Then you would read the pact and propose it to him. At that point, he will either accept or deny the pact. All right. If he accepts the pact, trust me, if you actually successfully summon him, you will know that he's there and he will give you an accurate answer, yes or no. At that point, you would draw his sigil on the bottom of the pact. You would write the name Lord Satan, and then you would sign your signature next to it. You would then prick your finger and blood his sigil and his name, and then you would blood your signature, and then you would close out the ritual and you would uphold your end of the pact. You would fold that pact up and keep it in a safe place and then watch if it's accepted, assuming it's not something crazy or stupid or unrealistic. If it's something realistic and he actually accepts the pact, then you would put that in a safe place and then watch the pact unfold. And you will get exactly what you ask for, assuming that you uphold your end of the pact.
Makes sense.
The Aaron, I super chatted again, brother. Yes, I saw that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're the only one that has donated a super chat tonight. I appreciate you, man, so much. Let's see. Yikes, good luck to her. I think that's a response to the story you told, Brad. Let's see. Hail Lucifer, hail Lucifer, hail the Almighty Father Satan. Angelo, yes, absolutely. We agree with you there. Charlie Ray, I was jerked around very bad by a guy. He totally lied about seeing someone else. I cursed him to be alone forever. He ended up getting married, and I thought my curse failed until his mom unexpect. Looks like maybe their internet got cut off or something before they finished typing. Oh, okay. Below unexpectedly died.
Yep.
So
Well,
yeah, you'll feel forever alone losing your mom. Okay, well, I mean,
or or that
I don't.
marriage was not what it was supposed to be either. You might have cursed him with a bad marriage too. Could have happened.
I mean, I don't judge anyone for anything. Like, did his mom really deserve to die as a result of your broken heart? Probably not. But you know what? Like, somebody fucked you over, and you throw some baneful magic at them. Like, baneful magic takes the path of least resistance. That's why, that's why I've never cursed my ex-wife. People are like, man, this bitch really fucked you over. Why don't you curse that bitch? I'm like, well, because my daughter lives with her, and baneful magic affects everyone around the target. And, if I hurt my ex-wife through baneful magic, then I'm going to be hurting my daughter anyway, because she's going to have to suffer watching her mother suffer. And also, like, it's a wild card. Anything could happen if I'm throwing curses there, and I don't want to put my daughter at risk. So, like, just keep that in
Yeah.
mind, guys, when you're throwing baneful magic. Like, if there's somebody in their general vicinity that you give a fuck about, you probably should not do that. All
Yeah.
right?
Unintended consequences for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do,
I didn't like mine. I didn't mean to, have a daughter raised by a single mom. That
yeah,
unintended consequence.
yeah. Jared H, have you been able to heal someone with cancer? Okay,
We
Dan,
hit that.
you read that question along. Dude, I'm so far behind in this chat. I apologize to everybody watching. Holy shit. Like, my chat froze up. Questions for
I'll get on
JS
one.
and Brad. Let's see. I'm looking for more questions here. I don't want to
Say,
ignore. questions.
I saw a message from Dan. Yes, Dan, we are friends on Facebook. I am that same Brad Grand. Anybody who wants to hit me up on Facebook, it's Brad Grand. Um, my little my picture is a little ghost being swept out a door because that's kind of what I like to get into now is getting rid of bad spirits for people. That's kind of where one of the things I like getting into, and yeah, that's my logo. So if you see it, there's also profile picture or the other picture of it's from the group. It's from the group, the boot camp we were all in. So JS is in it, EA's in it, myself, and a few others. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
recognizable there.
And
I
I'll
think
be
I got
putting
more than one.
yeah, I'll be putting all the links that you sent me in the description here
Awesome.
after we get off the live stream. I don't know how to do it beforehand, but afterwards I can go in and edit it and put all your links in. So yeah, you guys will be able to definitely get a hold of Brad here through those links after the live stream is over. To Jared H, I commented about 2 failed rights last night and emailed you on that help desk email on your site, JS. Instead of performing another on me, I might ask you to do that for someone else. Thank you for thee. And that's all it, or the story. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'll say if you emailed me last night, then I have not seen it yet. All right. I get a lot of emails every day. I get a lot of messages on different platforms. So anybody that emails me or messages me anywhere, like just give me a little bit of time to get back to you. I do read all my messages and all my emails, especially through my website, my help desk. I try to respond to everybody in a timely manner, but I mean, there's only so many hours in a day, and I can only respond to so many messages in a day. So, yeah, if you did send me an email, then I will get that. I will read that here soon and respond to you. I promise. James Anthony sent a super chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. James is another good friend of mine. Known him for years. He's a really cool guy. He's a badass. He's a veteran. He's a lot of things, man. He's a really cool guy, and I
See,
appreciate you tuning in, brother. Respect.
you know, I'll take this one from Morgan here about can you do a healing ritual with Raphael Marbus at the same time? Yes, I've done it. In fact, I did it for your brother. I will say I tend to favor Marbus now because I really feel like I felt his presence in the circle when I called him. Very apparent, very responsive spirit, and probably inspired me to get more involved in how I ended up doing the oil. But yeah, you can definitely do both.
Yeah, I agree. Um, just because one's classified as an angel and one's classified as a demon doesn't necessarily mean that that's accurate. You know, and it doesn't mean that they won't work together. Like some of the craziest rituals I've ever done have been evoking supposed angels and supposed demons into the circle at the same time for the same purpose. You know, it's like you got this demon that heals people, you got this angel that heals people, or you got this demon that kills people and this angel that kills people. Work with them together. Seriously. Like you're getting both polarities there if nothing else, but they're all the same creatures. They're all the same creatures. Like Raphael to me is an ancient god, which that reminds me, I got a new tattoo. I got
Oh,
Raphael's sigil tattooed on my shoulder a couple weeks
right
ago.
on.
Yeah, Raphael is described as an archangel in the Christian religion, but I know him as something much more than that. He is an ancient god that was adopted into the Christian religion, just like most of the spirits that we see or hear about in the Bible or even these other books like the Keys of Solomon. It's like they'll classify like, oh, these are good spirits and these are bad spirits. Angel good, demon bad. But what's the difference between them? There is no difference. There is no difference. If you got one in front of you, standing next to another, you can't tell them apart. All right. Like bottom line is if you come to them from a place of strength and a place of respect, and they respect you, then they're going to work with you, regardless of what kind of label other religions have placed upon them. They don't give a
I
fuck.
agree.
Do not care about your race. They do not care about what religion you come from or anything like that. It's like you find one of these entities and you say, okay, you read their sigil or you read their description, you pull up their sigil, like, okay, whatever they specialize in can help me. Like if you evoke them respectfully, and if you offer them something in exchange for what you're asking for, instead of following the Western Solomonic type of sorcery practice where you just summon them and try to constrain them and then threaten them in the names of all these different gods that are bullshit. Like that that's why you hear so many horror stories about people that dabble in magic, because they take the wrong approach to it. If you approach them respectfully from a place of strength and power, they will help you regardless of what you look like or what religion you grew up in. They do not give a fuck. They
Yeah.
will help you.
I look at it like I'm calling a spirit into my circle. It's like having a guest in my home. And you know
Yeah,
what I do when I have a guest into my home? I typically feed them. So
offer them food.
if I
Right.
offer them a chicken or a quail to eat that night, then that's what I offer them. That's this is what I have to give you, just like I would any other house guest. I'm going to feed you, and
Yeah, if I
that's
was
how I work with it.
an important person over to my house with the intention of asking them for a favor, I would clean
Absolutely.
house first of all. I would have a fine meal prepared for them and ready to offer them, along with anything that they might like to drink or smoke. And I would treat them with the utmost respect. If you treat
Mhm.
these spirits in the same manner that you would a physical person that is important, that you're asking for a favor, then you cannot go wrong if you show them respect. All right. If you try to
Absolutely.
threaten or constrain them, or imagine like you're gonna have your governor over for dinner, and you want to ask him for a pardon for something you did bad. Just to give an example, like you don't clean your house, you don't have food prepared for him, you don't offer him anything to drink, you just invite him in and then start threatening him, like, give me a pardon or else. Guess what's gonna happen?
It's
There's
not going to work.
with an angel or a demon or a god. Like they're gonna say, "Fuck you, dude! You're a disrespectful asshole." So treat them with the same respect that you would a VIP, and you can't go wrong being respectful.
I agree, and
Yeah,
I've not had a negative experience in a ritual working with
yeah,
humans at all, but with that same philosophy,
yep.
respect.
Same here. Travis Keenan, my friend's mother had. Oh shit! Now my chat's moving. Hold on. My friend's mother had really bad cancer, and she said she doesn't have much time left. La Santa Morte, I gave her another year to live. She recovered well, but the cancer came back harder. Mm.
Well, hey, another year
Do
is another year.
perform the deification right for her, bro.
Yeah.
Just give her the energy, her body the energy that it needs to heal itself. That's what I would recommend.
Mm.
Yeah, my phone is going to die here in a minute.
Uh-oh.
Which spirit is Ophal? Ophal is the angel of deliverance who can remove curses and spiritual bondage, free the mind from fears, and restore a person to full spiritual health. That is who Ophal is. It's OPFAAL. The negative energy
Uh,
sucks or worse. Bought your healing oil, Brad.
I saw that. Thank you, James. I
James
will.
Anthony. Fuck yeah, brother. Nina the Mystic. Yes, I love that idea. I get tons of orbs when filming during spirit communication. Hell yeah,
That's it.
I've seen evidence of her work. Nina is badass. You guys got to check her out. I'm doing a review video for her soon on some on an elixir she sent me that works very well. Sean Berg. I grew up in a haunted home where the entities in the home only targeted me, and had some cryptid encounters around that home too. I have a very similar story from my childhood. We don't have time to get into it right now. Yeah, I grew up in a haunted house too, and I was targeted by a cryptid when I was a kid. No kidding. No shit. I have to do a story time on that.
That's
Let's
interesting.
see. Brady, I have one from both rights, the first and the snake. Fuck yeah, brother. Damn best. Brad Grand, I believe that we are friends on Facebook. You already answered that one.
Yep, we are.
Dude, I am so far behind in these comments. And my phone is about to die. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any more questions. I thank you all for like commenting and being so interactive with this live stream.
Yep.
You are all I recognize pretty much every name in the chat. You guys are all good friends and I appreciate all of you. See.
Let's see.
Do the deification right for more than once. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've done it for certain people dozens of times. It just keeps on making them younger and healthier, stronger, more powerful. And each time you utilize a different sacrifice, like a rooster has one effect, a snake has a different effect, rabbit has a different effect. I've done it with a crow. I have done it with a crow, like seriously, a
Interesting.
wild crow that came into my chicken coop and offered itself as a sacrifice. And yeah, each entity, each animal has a different effect on you.
All right.
Brother,
Let's
let's
see.
see. Is it possible for you to help me with either a ritual or invocation? My question is that I will advise someone to go about it. I mean, either one of us will do our best to help you
Yeah.
as far as advice goes. See, Brady says Barbie and you should be different than what? What? Okay, I don't know what the fuck that means. Different than what you know.
Hmm. I don't know.
I don't know what that means, Brady. You have to elaborate. What
Oh,
what are
let's
some
see.
things entities ask for in a pact? Blood offering, sacrifice, devotion, time and energy, build an altar
Yep.
for their home, you know, give them something in exchange for what you're asking for.
Yep. And I treat Santa Morte differently than I would many of the other ones. She's more of like a physical offerings versus like blood or life. So
Says John Usher, hey brother, thank you for healing my brother. JS, Steve is doing great. That was a man that was suffering from a very nasty disease that me and my good friend, we'll call him Shaman on here, that's his handle, were
good.
able to help save his life just out of the goodness of our hearts. Let's see.
I think we're almost caught up with
Call
questions at that point.
chat here. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, we're all caught
I
up,
gotta.
brother. So
All
we've been
right.
on
So
7 minutes here. My phone's about to
yeah.
die. So we're about to end this. Brad, I fucking love you, bro. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you
Absolutely.
for collaborating and coming on to this live stream with me. And thank you for all the awesome shit we're gonna do in the future, man. Real
Look
quick,
forward.
plug your links once again. I'll post them in the
Yeah.
chat. Of
Pretty easy. Brad Grand on Etsy for the oil. It's a healing oil of Marbus, a touch of Marbus. And we'll get that. We'll get an actual link up for you, and then Brad Grand on Facebook. You can reach out to me there, friend request. I know I've seen more than a few people come through the chat tonight that I'm friends with already. So yeah, sounds good.
Oh yeah, brother. Hail the Infernal Empire. Thank you all. We
Sounds
love
good.
you, our brothers and sisters. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Let's see.
And
Uh